My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. I was born July 4th, 1986. I'll say thank you for tuning in. Hey guys, come on. Today, I don't know what it is. There's something that I want to be able to explain. I don't know why I was thinking about this morning, but I gotta say something that I've noticed in my life. And that's the concept of being able to use this word that is the most amazing word to be able to make sure that you yourself are going to be able to live as free as you possibly can, I guess I can say. And that word is no. And it's something that I noticed with myself with using that word. And this is a part with me that I'm always studying. Come on, guys. I'm always studying these animals here, these dogs, to really understand more of what's actually going on with me, as opposed to what I'm saying it is. This is cool about them, that I can see in real time what's actually happening. Am I actually getting in a better place, or is it just an illusion that things are better and it actually isn't really all that great? And that really comes down to something that I've just really realized when it comes to the word of no that I would use. Because to me, I don't know what it is. I've never been one that's been really good at, like said, putting boundaries out. Someone would say they want me to do something, I'm that classic yes man. I'll just please, I got you, no problem, no whatever. I'll do everything for you. And I'm just always yes, 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 and yes, yes, yes. And I would never, I would put myself, 'cause I used to even say this, I put myself in a jam just to make sure that I would do something for someone else, to just make sure that to make sure that they're good to go. And I would even hurt myself. I will be behind schedule. I won't be able to follow through on what it is that I wanted to do for even say other people, just because this one person was asking me to do something. And I just wouldn't say no. And I noticed something in me. This is the part where this is why this is a powerful word, because this is clear communication. When you have clear communication with these animals, when your no is no, life is easy. I mean, it's easy. All you need is yes and no. But I think there's something going on here that just my life, what I've experienced, because I get to see the differences between the different dogs that I have, on how I've spoken to them, how I am with them, what I do with them, and how I'm changing up my language with them. That I will say, the younger the dog, so I've had this shepherd here for three years now, and this girl, I'm had her moving on a year now. So this past 3 years, so mainly the past year and a half, I've just changed up my language. So in reality, this Dalmatian came to me with me putting my said clear boundaries in. And I would always notice something real interesting. I would always be anxious when I would say no. As if, I guess the only words I can use is as if I'm going to disappoint, and they're not going to like me anymore if I say no. So I'd always have this like anxiousness in my body. And that's what I believe that the dogs are seeing, they're reading. Because in my opinion, and I've done a lot of reading and watching on this concept here, our bodies, when it's excited and anxious, look just about the same. It's the same. You can't really tell. You can only tell from, say, a human to human when we're speaking by asking more questions, what's going on. But as far as the dogs, if you're anxious and you're excited, they're reading it as the same. The dog, Ophi, you going deep in there today? Come on. I know we in a backwoods trail today, so this is what my dogs look like up the right away. I just got out the van, got out here. This is just right up front. It's gonna be a more challenging walk because it's it's remote. There's not a lot, not a lot around. So there's gonna be a lot of wildlife that are gonna really get into my dog's faces. But the main thing here is that word of no and being anxious when you're saying it, and your dog is misreading you, and you're not having the correct line of communication going on. I mean, that's even the same with saying no to your child, even saying no to a coworker, saying no to any family member, just saying no. And if your body is in this nervous, anxious, you're trying to people please, you're giving off the language to that other person, like it's okay to do what they're doing, even though you actually don't want it. So the other person just keeps pushing and pushing and pushing, which they're just like, you're constantly straight up like saying yes all the time. So that's why they just keep doing it, as opposed to you just, I guess word saying is put your foot down and say, no, I don't want to do this. And stand firm to that. And don't give in to your temptation of, oh my goodness, they're gonna this, they're gonna that, they're not gonna like me, they're gonna be mad, they're gonna be sad. Because that's a challenging thing, especially with these dogs. A lot of people think that if you say no to the dog, that it's all of a sudden not gonna want you, not gonna want to appreciate you. And I'm gonna tell you this, it's the complete opposite of that. If you don't say no to the dog and stop and get moving and do what you gotta do with the dog to get it to stop like jumping all on you if you don't want it to jump on you, and hounding it all on you if you don't want it hounded on you, then the dog actually at the end of the day is it's not gonna like you nearly as much as if you just said no, because you're not really gonna be, I guess the words used is in tune with each other. So you're just gonna keep getting pushed around, and the dog is gonna assume that that's what you want, but then you're giving conflicting messages of like, I like it, but I don't like it. I want that, but I don't want that. And you're just going back and forth, and there's no way, just no way you can be said in a happy relationship with anything if there's that weird level of confusion that it's like, I'm not sure what's going on here. And I'm not sure if they actually like, I'm not sure if they actually are listening to me. I'm not sure if they actually appreciate me. I'm not sure if they actually know what I'm trying to say. Because the unfortunate part is, this may sound messed up, but it is what it is. Most women on this planet just don't just say what they want to say. That's the thing that I'm going to say is difference between most, not all, but most women. Most dudes are just like, we just say what it is. There's no hidden language behind it. If I don't like you, I don't like you. Period. Done. Moving forward in life. But for some reason, a lot of women are a little bit different with that. And I'm noticing that same thing with even female dogs and male dogs is you like to beat around the bush a little bit too much. And sometimes that's acceptable. But other times, you just got to just stand up and just say, I don't like this, so that you could just be done and it's over with. And then we don't have to keep on, because this is the thing that I noticed with my dogs is why I felt like I would always keep getting pushback, because I would say no and they're like, are you sure? I know you're not sure. I know you're just going to give in. So then, of course, in the end, what usually happens is you give in. So when you say no to the dog from jumping on you, the dog is like, and you say no, and you have the old rapport of just keep petting them anyways. The dog's going to jump again, and then it's going to jump again, and then it's going to jump again. And if you don't continue to keep on saying no until that animal just completely stops, it's just going to keep doing it. It's not going to want to stop, because it knows, okay, if I do it 5 times, she'll go back to petting me. This time, if I do it 8 times, she'll go back to petting me. As to it being no, you do it unlimited times, you're just not allowed to do this. Then they'll stop challenging and say pushing you and telling you what it is that what they're doing, like you're trying to tell them what not to do. They'll stop pushing it. And that's the big thing I noticed between, like, especially these dogs here compared to my other 2, or I got the other 3, but I only work with 2. Kahi, the other 2, is they don't push back, if any, of what it is that I'm asking for from them. And if they do not do what it is that I'm looking for, it's because they're really not sure what it is that I'm still want yet. And that's where we kind of get this fake thinking that things are good to go. That's the part where, for me, you want a good downstay on the dog. You want to just do a little every single day, and not even make it fun, but the biggest thing is don't use fear, because fear will give you the illusion like you got it good to go now, but it's really not. And it takes a long, long time for these dogs to really just sink in exactly what it is that you're looking for. And that comes down to just constantly, every single time that dog is said not doing something, being able to say that word no, and being able to be firm with that no. And it doesn't have to be a sort of punishment. It's just a sort of just communication. I don't want that. And I believe that's that's like the biggest thing in dog training. Say no, take the correction collar and give them a yank. Make sure you say it within 1.3 seconds so that the dog understands that that's not what you want. And to me, that's the part where that's not, I don't know what words to use with that. I'll have to come back and add more to that once I figure out more. But that's not communication. That's not talking. That's not doing anything. That's forcing something to comply, or else it's going to this. It's not really being able to say, I don't like that. It would be the same as straight up. You're going to work and your coworker asks you to do something and you say no, and you're like, no, I don't have time, I'm busy. So the way that we would understand that is let's go ahead and put a corrective collar on you. Or let's go ahead and put a taser on you. I'm going to tase you, and then what do you say? You say the word, and then you tase. So I'm going to say no, and then I'm going to tase. Like, that's not communication. That's not going to get anything done. That's not going to go anywhere. It's it's going to be very, very short-lived, and it's going to have the assumption that things are good and everything looks great, but it actually isn't to the core of what's going on, because you're not able to just communicate. And that's the thing that I get. There's a half a push out there of especially the dog stuff that's like, never say no to your dog. Yeah, don't say it in a way that you're saying no and slapping the dog, and saying no and like doing something to the dog, other than saying no and stop and be done with it. Stop. If I don't want you to, because this is everything that I've been testing and working with these dogs has really gotten a lot of just great success that I'm personally looking for. That's why I just stand and I hold the leash. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to allow them to just get through it. They're going to get past it. So if I stop right now, I put the shepherd on the leash, the first thing that he wants to do is go and sniff something. And if I don't want him to do that in that moment, I just stand there. I just wait. I wait him out. Once he stops trying to just pull and go and do, he stops, he looks at me, and he's like, okay, where are we going to go now? I don't need to add anything extra. I don't need to like yank on the leash to tell him what I'm looking for. I let him just exhaust all his opportunities, and I don't say nothing. I don't do nothing. I don't express nothing. I'm just there of a body of saying, this body presence is no. I'm communicating to you what I want and what I don't want. And it doesn't, that's what makes it not come down to something that's hostile. That's what makes it that, because that's the unfortunate thing, is like people trying to get a recall on these dogs. You're using that no and adding something extra to it. Even if it's a treat, anything, you're adding extra to it. So that makes the dog suspicious of why it should come to you, as opposed to you just saying, no, I don't want that. I want you to be here. And the dog just runs over because he knows that that's what's expected, not that anything exciting like a treat is coming, or not anything bad like a correction is coming. It's neutral of just, we're communicating here. There's nothing added extra that I need to do. And that's kind of what dog training at the end of the day is, added extra. Everything is the added extra, as opposed to just being you. And the one thing that I really study with myself is that whole people pleaser syndrome, that these dogs are pushing you around because, I mean, I'll just be frank, we're 12 minutes in, because you're just a pushover. You allow people to just push you around. And my own self, I'm talking about myself here. I allow people to just push me around. If I said, I don't like that my life is sticky sometimes. But if I got a girl in my life that's sitting here like hitting me in any way, it could just be like this little cute little, she just wants to like slap me. I look at her and I say, no, don't do that. But my no is, unfortunately, most cases, is kind of like, no, but it's okay. So then they just keep doing it again, and then doing it again, and doing it again. And then you'll get to the point that it's like, you're kind of just fed up. And then you may have a lash out, and then you have this blow up. Then the other person's looking at you like, what's going on? As opposed to just sticking firm to what it is that you said. If you said no, it's no. It just is. Who cares if, this is the part, who cares if you, even in that second, in that moment, hurt that person's feelings? Because you can't allow people to just destroy you just so that you make everybody like you. You can't do that. And more people in reality are not going to like you, not going to want to be around you, the more that you're just all about, what's up, guys? That would have been a cool picture right there. Just always doing. That's the everybody is going to know what I'm about to say right now. Not unless you've never worked in a workplace. If you worked in a warehouse, you work where there's a lot of people around. Everybody understands this. And especially folks that listen to me, I already know, Ophi, we not going down there. No, come on. So that's where I'm going to say no, because this is starting to get sketchy. Ophi, I don't care. I know there's something there that, I don't know what that is. Something got her drawn in, like she's just zoned in, absolutely zoned in. But in your workplace, you a hard worker. You do a lot. You dig deep. We're not going that way right now. We don't need Kahi. Everybody trying to go down there. Let's go. Come on, guys. You a hard worker. You get all your tasks done. The boss man always comes to you, and he's ready to just keep loading more and more stuff on you. And you're busy. You're like big. You're always busy. You like, I don't know. I don't have time. I'll still get it done. you doing extra time at home. You're not even on the clock anymore and you're still doing work and you're just going, going, going. And you know when that promotion starts to come up, you know who gets it? The one that always, you may not notice this, but it's the one that don't do nothing that you see. You're doing 10 times work compared to the other person, but you don't get the promotion. And especially if it's going toward like a manager type position, because you're too quick to just always say yes. Whereas the person that's not working, they're quick to say no because they want to respect you got to respect the boundaries. And that's a person that's going to be, at the end of the day, a really good leader. And that's why, unfortunately, our best, not always, but our best like leaders, companies, they're not the ones that are doing all of the work. They're the ones getting people to do all the work because they're able to get and find all the yes man people, the folks that'll overwork yourself just so that you can like please, so that you could say you're good, and never saying no, and always just accepting more and more and more. So these people are looking for them, and they can find you instantly. It's always a first little test right away to see what's going to happen. And that's something that I'm really starting to pay a lot of attention to with a lot of these dogs. When your dog is in your household right now acting a fool, and you can't just say something to get them to get out of it, and you got to add something extra, you need to dial back a little bit and learn how to be able to get a new line of communication of what that no actually truly means. And that's why for me, my favorite go-to, I don't know everything. That's why everything that I would ever talk about, a recommendation of what to do with your dog, is going to come down to this one simple thing, is put the dog on a leash and just stand there and hang out with the dog, or sit and hang out with the dog. And we're basically going to convince this dog that, Ophi, y'all seen the rawness of this challenging place right here. But I appreciate that. So far, I'm listening to everything that I'm saying. I greatly appreciate it. There's a bunch of buzzards right here. They really get Ophi because they're big. But grab a leash, grab a dog, and just hang out with the dog. And the dog, ooh, you stuck in the tree, homie? Get out of there. We good, we good. Come on. Come on, guys, we good. Look at her. Oh. Come on. Kahi, come on. That buzzard was right about to hit me in the face. I appreciate my backup. The dogs definitely acted quick once they heard that thing's hitting by my head. They came running on a quickness to come and make sure the things were good. I don't know if they was doing that to help me or just doing that in the sense of, hey, we could get to chase something. That's the part where I'm still not 100%. Do the dogs actually protect us? I think they do. But do they actually do it because they want to do it for us? Or is it still just all about them and they're getting their said fun out by being able to just said protect you? It's an interesting thing that I see, because I've seen my dogs do, especially my border collie, do some things that are very questionable. Stuff's running up from behind me and he comes and say protects me and pushes the animal away. It's fascinating. But grab a leash. Sorry, I got way off topic. This is I guess you get to see it is what it is. I enjoy having all the flaws in my videos. I don't want them always just like perfect and there's just beautiful oasis. No, I don't live that life. I live the real life. Real life that sometimes it is what it is. And I can't like present everything to be so perfect and so amazing and so just, I got it all figured out. No, I said no to both of these dogs today. I'm still having to communicate things of like, stop trying to chase the buzzards and chase the deer. And I'm still just working with them. But it's easy to work with them because when I say no to them, they're just like, oh, okay, let's go, let's move on. And it's not hostile. And that's the part that I would really want everyone to be able to just really, because I get a lot from a lot of folks of, my dog is barking and I can't get him to stop. If you can't just simply say no to get the dog to stop, you need to back up. You need to back up. You got to back up a lot. You got to back up and you got to slow down. And you got to be able to make sure that dog is understanding what that no is, and it's firm, and not firm in a way of how I can physically do something to the dog, but firm in the way that when you said no to, for instance, jumping on you, it's no. I don't care what's going on this planet. It's no. And then later on, you could bring it back, because that's like how I got it with my Dalmatian at this moment. Stuff that I just been working with. I said no to jumping on me at first. for months. Every time she tried to, it was always no. Nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we're not doing that. And now I'm bringing it back of you could do it when I want you to do it, basically. You can't just freely do it when you decide to, but if I decide to say, okay, I'm cool with it now, then I'll let you do it. And it's working pretty good. She doesn't just go straight to always trying to jump on me anymore. But it was just no, every time. There was no little puppy eyes as she looked at me like, oh, please, can I do it? It's like, no, and no. And that's what, at the end of the day, a mass manipulator, which dogs at the end of the day kind of really are, because they got to get what they need to be able to survive from us. That's how people are able to get you to just move, because they'll come up with this little sob story. Like, oh, can you do this project for me? Because my kid this, and I'm not gonna be able to do it. They'll hit you with these stories, and you're like, okay, I'll do it. And then like 3 weeks later, you realize he just went out partying and he doesn't even have kids. And you're like, what the heck? But you worked so hard and you just slammed yourself so much to do something for somebody. And they really just were giving you a story on how to do some things. And that's the times that you just have to say no. You have to be firm in saying no and stick with that no and never allow anything to change from that no. And then you're going to start to be able to let that dog understand what no actually means. Because especially, say, a barking dog, if you're just yelling at the dog to tell it to stop, the dog's like, shoot, you're just barking with me. Like, I don't know what's going on here. And also, don't ever think that something is purposely disrespecting you, because it only can if you allow it. It's purposely being mean to you, you only allow that. No one can hurt you unless you allow them to do that. Outside of course, like, don't take that too far. Someone comes up from behind you, try to rob you. Clearly, you didn't, it's not your fault. But if your dog is chewing on you right now and you don't want them to chew on you, you never have told that animal not to do such a thing. You just, in reality, kind of told them it's okay to keep doing that. And you put yourself in that. No one else and nothing else put you in it. You put yourself in that. And that's something that we all have to really just look at. And that's the part with me of really knowing how to effectively use a simple word of no. Ophi, what's up with these cliffs today in you? We're not going down no cliffs. Come on. Come on. Yo, confidence with like just going deep into the unknown is scary to me. It's impressive, but it's like, holy cow. She's like, I'll go in there. You want me to go in that dark, deep hole? I'll go in there. I'm like, what are you doing? You good, girl? Let's go. It's just crazy. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say thank you and end that right there. Something that I just not only just talk, but I just practice and I do. And stuff that I'm talking about is stuff that I'm doing. And then once I'm realizing differences and changes in life, I'm like, hey, this stuff actually is very interesting and it works. I never want to communicate to my dogs in a sense of having to add something extra. I just want to be me. Once I start adding things, that's where things start to get complicated and things will get confusing. Because if you don't have that added thing, then they're just clearly not going to want to listen to you. Because why would it be worth it? And that's why at the end of the day, using such things such as physical force can get you stuff to get much faster. But it's an illusion that it's faster. Because once you let go of that physical force, then you're just going to run into a scenario that the dog's going to say, well, why should I listen? Because that's what I got. Man, I got to talk about my man Johnny a little bit more. Because that's what I have with him. All he knows of me is no and corrective collar pressure. Prong collar, e-collar. Mainly, he was trained 4 months in a dog school and 4 more months at a dog school, the internship of every single day was no correction, no correction. Any time that he was ever wrong, that's just what he knows of me. So today, I've let all that go, and he's the only one in reality that I trained like that. So he's the one that's taken the longest to come back from. But these guys here, I mean, that's how I was with Kahi. Every time I'll say, nope, shoot, sometimes I just put it on, you better know what I want. I'll just give you a tap on that collar because you're just wrong. I wouldn't even say anything. And that's where it works really well until you don't have it on anymore. And then you're like, man, now what can I do now? And that's what Johnny does to me. I'll say to him, he just freezes and stares at me like, what are you going to do about it? if I basically like don't move or don't do what you're telling me to do. He just freezes. He stares at me dead in my eyes, and he's like, "What are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do anything." And then he relaxes, and especially today we're upgrading to I just go get him to let him know like nothing crazy is about to happen, buddy. Let's go. I'll give him a little pat, like everything's fine. And he's like, "Oh, okay, all right." So he's coming along, but he definitely has this negative sense to him of what are you going to do if I don't this? What are you going to do if I that? What are you going to do if this goes on? As opposed to him just saying, let's just live. Let's just be so that we don't have to go through these battles. And that's what I see in a lot of folks' houses right now. You're fighting with the dog. You're fighting with your kids. You're fighting with your spouse. You're fighting with your coworkers. You're fighting with folks on the internet that you don't even know. You're fighting. Everybody just wanting to bicker, battle, and fight. As opposed to just saying, you know what? I don't agree with that. And you can write a message of what you don't agree with, but don't turn it to a fight. It's just you don't agree. It is what it is. And that's what's interesting when you're not having to like apply pressure to get what you want, but just speak and just be. Ofi? That's a good old Ofi here. She's a good girl. You smell like peppermint. Come on.